Hello. So, welcome to this little tiny, almost mini video series to help you through the Midheaven program. So, I'm breaking it down into 3 videos because of the way the houses are broken down. So, this one's going to be specifically about the personal houses, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these are all focused on you, what you are looking for in your business, what you need. So that's the theme of these 4, and that's why I'm doing it this way. But we're going to be talking about how to use your personal natal chart in business for your business ventures and projects that you have. So before we get started, here's my chart. So the natal chart, if you need a refresher, is the exact moment of your birth. This is where all of the planets were. So if you picture yourself in the middle, where the little X is, that's you. You look up at the sky, this is where all the planets were. Now, please have your chart out as I'm going through things so you have a visual representation of what I'm talking about. It's very important to have your chart with you, but also make sure it looks like no chart will look like mine. Everyone's chart is super unique, but make sure the layout of these triangles here is equal to the little zodiac icons on the outside. So if your chart right now has like a line in the middle, like these lines are kind of like in the center, you have a different house system, please change it to the whole sign house system. If you need questions or help, please reach out to me. My email is at the top of the page. So where you put your info in, it should say underneath it like house system, pick whole sign. It is so much easier to read your own chart like this. It makes everything equal, so much easier to understand and navigate. And I also find it to be a much accurate representation. And this year I have changed like readings, the way I teach to this house system. I've tried to teach astrology with the other house system where everything's like different sizes, and it confuses people so much. And we don't want any confusion. So please use this house system. It will make your life easier. So now we're going to get into the 4 houses. And I'm not going to say zodiac signs here. We're just going to say houses. So to break down what a house is first. So houses are the triangles, the pizza slices, the slices of pie in your chart. So we're going to cover the first 4. And so we look to the X in the center, which is you, and we look out to 1, 2, 3, 4. They're labeled, right? And you draw a line from, let's say, 1, boom, look at the zodiac sign. 2, look at the zodiac sign. 3, look at the zodiac sign. 4, look at the zodiac sign. So I'm just going to explain the general themes of 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone's chart, right? Different. You might not have the same first 4 zodiac signs here, but that zodiac sign is the next layer, and it is the flavor. I don't know, I'm doing that with my hand, but that's the flavor of how the house themes are going to be expressed in your life. So this is what I go through in live one-to-one or small group programs, is the actual breaking down of what it means for you. You cannot do it over a video. After a few years of astrology, one-to-one or small group containers is the easiest way for me to like just go through what your house means. It's just so much easier. So these videos are just here as a guide. This just to have always, if you're like, what does the first house mean again? Here's the first house. And to dive deeper, if you're watching this, you've either done a more intimate container. So we've actually discussed your first house or your houses specifically. And if you've if you've purchased the bundle and you haven't gone through that with me, look for a link somewhere. And if you need support after watching the series, please reach out. And then if you're in a program with me now, bring questions after watching this video to the class of like wherever there's confusion, bring the questions to me. So houses are different themes in your life. And then the zodiac sign is the flavor of the theme. So these themes can be described for your personal life. And I also think they can be applied to business. And that's where this course exists. And as you go through like a year through the zodiac sign, not zodiac sign, a year through your natal chart, each zodiac sign is covered in like a 30-day period. And it allows you to almost go through all the themes in like a balanced way. I can also refer to the houses as different seasons that you're in. So, like, depending on the different zodiac season, you might feel like you're in a different stage of your business or the things you need to focus on. But having a general overview, it's extremely, I think, important to know what your energy is going to be like if you are a business owner. It's very important to know your own energy. If you are managing things, people, building something, you got to make sure you're taking care of yourself first. And this is where this whole astrology thing comes in. It's almost like a self-care practice and a planning tool all combined into one. So let's get started here. House number 1. So remember, we look the center, boom, 1. This starts off everything. So the purpose for business and career for house number 1 is all about you. So your leadership style, your self-awareness, what your soul needs to feel in alignment. It also might be how you first come off to people. So if you were to do like a free discovery call or send somebody like an email freebie or anything where it's like a first impression, this is what this house represents. So again, looking at your zodiac sign, what's the flavor of the first impression? The first house can also be tuned in to your branding. So if you're confused on like, if you're at that stage in your business and you're like, how do I brand myself? What does my logo look like? What colors and fonts do I pick? You can look at your first house and it can give you some insight to like, again, that first impression you give off, let's say with your aura and who you are and what you look like. Think of like, okay, what kind of first impression do I want my brand to give off? So you can see my branding through this presentation with this blue. I'm a water rising sign. I love this blue color. I find it so peaceful and calming. So I decided when I did my rebrand this year, I'm doing blue because I'm a water rising. Like it's a fit and it works and I like it. So making sure that your branding and first impression really fits with you and how you want to be perceived. And also just kind of like whatever colors you're naturally drawn towards can really just help you here. Like this color is everywhere in my home. It's just, right? So other things you can look at for house number 1 to use in business, career, soul purpose is what are some of the things I have here? So it's basically like if you know yourself, then you'll know your own business. There's a lot of self-awareness stuff. So tapping into astrology is a big self-awareness tool. Like one way you can get to know yourself better, tapping into human design, numerology, doing things like meditation, any of those kinds of practices or tools, and just really developing your like spiritual tool belt and knowing sort of what you need. And so you want to make sure that your business is going to like work for you in a way that you want and with the look and the feel with the branding. I always say that like you need to almost have like a long-term vision of where you're going to go and sort of what you want in that business. And then the first house also is like how you're going to take action towards things. And it's also how you will handle tasks and projects and delegate and lead and all of these things. But the actions you're taking, are they working in your favor? Like thinking of it like that. I'll give an example. One of my biggest things with my business is like 100% remote. Like I want my business to be able to operate from anywhere. So if I were to move even to a different part of the city, move to a different country, doesn't impact my business because it's 100% online. So the actions that I'm taking in my business always come back to that like goal for what I'm seeking out of the business, right? because people will come to you with opportunities, and it's up for you to decide, does this actually work with what I want? So this is really what this house really represents. Sometimes it can be what your soul needs at the end of the day to feel fulfilled. So looking at, does your business have a mission statement? And that mission statement might really be connected to your personal goals and values, right? It can show your natural area of expertise and the things that you want to do, but then making a list of things you don't want to do and know how you're going to delegate that. The first house can also be extremely passion filled. So things that come natural, but also you have a strong drive towards. So again, it's not like, where are you going? How fast are you going to go there? Because depending on what flavor you have, right? You're going to move at a very different pace. So knowing these things about yourself is very helpful. So this is all about house one and how we can interpret it for your business. Before I move on to house two, this is the thing that look to see the zodiac sign and the flavor you're going to give off for all of this. And again, if you're in a one-to-one immersion or class with me, bring questions, please. And even email me questions if you have them. Now we're going to move on to house number two. Got to click. And house number two. So again, look in the center, we find two, it's right beside one. You'll find as I go through this, one is like our foundation, and it just builds as we go around the circle. So house number two has a few different like branches that it can go off into, right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is house number two is your business offerings. So house number one, we know who we are. Let's say we know who we are 100%, and we know who we are. Now, what are you going to offer? This is a time or a season to look at evaluating revenue streams. So this house is like, how do I actually earn an income? What offerings do I have? Do I have a money management system? What do I do when I receive dollars for the work that I've done? That's what this house will kind of represent. It really can show you the best energy to tap into to earn an income, like what, like zodiac archetype, that flavor, like what flavor to tap into to really like effortlessly just be in a flow state for earning money where it doesn't feel like work, right? It's the way your soul naturally wants to earn an income. So this is like that one of the houses of money. So that can obviously be directly applied to your business and career. What are you charging for things? Like what are the different systems you have like set up to receive money, right? Now, the other branch to this is value and self-worth. So also making sure that your prices are up to date. I've been in entrepreneurship circles where everyone has had an experience where they're scared to raise rates for whatever reason. But you have to make sure that the work that you're providing, the service that you're providing reflects the current value that you bring to the table, that you bring to your clients and your customers. So this naturally ties into a self-worth thing and how you're going to price things. So this is where it comes in. And then the flavor you have will determine a lot here. But prompts of like, how much experience do I have in what I do? Do I really believe in what I'm doing? Do I value the work that I do? Do I know it helps people? Because like I've undervalued what I do. I feel like everyone in their business journey, pricing can be really weird. This is the house you look at when you're struggling with how the hell do I price, or like how do I structure an offer? You go to house two. But at the very top where I have at the first point, something else that can really come through in house two is embodiment practices and rituals. There's a spelling mistake. There's always one spelling mistake with what I do. but any kind of, so the house two can also be very connected to cycles and nature and Mother Earth and grounding, right? So if we think about when you have a business, to make it a viable business, it has to be earning money or it's not a business, right? So that money then creates safety and security within your life. So um, it can you can feel grounded. If your business is working and operating and money's coming in and that's allowing you to live, you feel grounded, your root chakra is stabilized. So I have embodiment practices on here because it's very important to track certain things and have a mindfulness practice and meditation and have a balance of like you're earning money and you're working and what are you doing to decompress from that. So this house will show you your flavor of maybe what embodiment practices and rituals you're going to want to do, or like how many, the time, like it'll show your style of doing that. So I have a few like listed: tracking your menstrual cycle, mindfulness and meditation, cyclical nature, using astrology, using the moon, like a planet rules each day of the week, even tapping into that, going with the flow of like nature, can really even help center you when you're maybe tuning into how you want to price things or what you're going to offer. So this is house number two. It is much more practical and to the point than the first house. And yes, so you'll have a flavor of how you express all of these things. This with the zodiac sign on the outside. If I move with my hands, it's because I can see something in my head and I'm like trying to show you. But if you have any questions about house two, email me, let me know, bring the question to class. House three, right? So now we're building. So we know ourselves, we're making money in a way that feels authentic to us. Now, or we've priced our offerings and we have, let's say we have packages and products and services ready to go. Okay. Because then that builds the house three. What is your message, your why, social media communication? How are you going to communicate all of these service offerings out into the world, right? House three can feel like scattery. So whichever energy that you have, it's not even a word. I like made up a word, which is very house three. Scattery, I don't know. That's the easiest way to describe it. So whichever flavor comes through on the outside of your chart with the zodiac sign for house three. So 1, 2, 3, we count out to three, can describe your communication strategy. So things like, how do I want my marketing plan to look? Even down to like inbox and email approach and overwhelm, right? Whichever flavor you have here could describe if you color code your email inbox or if you don't. Things like that. But even when you have a business, like having systems in place so you're not overwhelmed with communication. So I said scattery because communications, marketing plans, it's fantastic, it's great. But if you think about marketing now and the way that it is currently, and with digital marketing, it's a lot of information. It's like too much for one person to handle. So tapping into the flavor that's in your chart can really help narrow down what you need to be doing. So, like, do you have a marketing plan? What's your website copy saying? Do you have an email newsletter? Do you have a strategy for social? Is it consistent? Is it the same message on all platforms? This house can also show your approach to networking with people, like how social and networky you want to be. Or like how you would be at networking events if you're more like quiet or if you're like totally okay with talking to people and it's not awkward for you. It can also show your unique way of getting involved with your local community. So on a local scale, so like think city-ish area, right? No more than 2 hours away, like extremely local to where you are. How would you want to get the message out that way? And it will really also tap into how you're going to use your voice. Because messaging, communication is all about your voice, right? Whether you're actually speaking it or writing it, it's all about your voice. Tell people what you're up to. That's basically house 3. So like, you know yourself, got your offers, now tell people what you're doing, right? That's house 3. And what's on the outside is the flavor, how you're going to tell people what's going on. And that's house 3. Kind of like simple to explain, but having these things like organized out and knowing that you don't have to do everything when it comes to find the flavor, find your flavor, find what works for you, and stick with that instead of trying to do like everything. I have found this to be extremely, extremely helpful. I feel like I had one more thing I wanted to say, but I don't think so. But house 3, marketing plan, all different kinds of marketing, events, everything. And whichever, when the sun is in this particular zodiac season, that rules your 3rd house, you might feel more energized to do things like networking events, or host an event or go out in your local community, sponsor something, things like that. So it's also good to note that as well. Yeah, it's kind of cool if you want to like write the dates on the outside of your chart. Like if you were to Google, so okay, for me, my chart starts at Cancer rising, so I would Google Cancer season and I'd write those dates on the outside. So doing that as well. If you need help with that, ask me in class or email me, and we can do that, just so you know when these things might become more of a focus for you. But just overall, no matter the time of year, that flavor coming through is very important to just sort of know. I think it's important to know, to better just like feel more aligned with what you're doing. And so the last house for today that we're going to go through, this is the last of the personal houses. So hopefully you've seen the topics really resonate with you. Like we're not talking about customers yet. It's house 4. So we had 1, and then we have 2, 3, 4. 4 is like at the bottom of the chart. It can kind of feel like hidden. It has like hidden vibes, but I like to look at this from a business and career perspective, alignment and purpose. Like, what is your mission, vision, values? These are very important things. What are the feelings, like really going into your emotional state? What are the feelings you are seeking from your business? And where do you want to work? What's your work-life balance? A lot of work-life balance here. Thinking like, okay, I built this business or I'm building this business. Why? Why are you building this business, right? I have worked with a lot of people who are moms, and a lot of people build their business so they have more time and flexibility to do mom things. So is that like your reason? Is it not? Like we all have our own reasons for a business, but finding that balance that works for you. This house can also literally mean like a home office and workspace, and then the zodiac sign on the outside can show your flavor to like how you're going to decorate your office and how you want to make it feel you and homey and a safe space. The flavor can also show how you're going to nurture in your business, so how you want to take care of these potential customers, right? Like or clients, like how you really want to like give them a hug with your products or your services. Yeah, also like where do you want to work can come through a lot as well. Like maybe you don't want a home office, that flavor, like you want to be out somewhere else interacting with people, or maybe the flavor is like, no, I want to be at home, I want to work independently by myself. These can be things that can come through with house 4, as well as like, you know, that family life obligation thing again. And then it's also important to look at self-care practices. This like last check-in before we go to the next set of houses, which will deal with other people, not just you. What are you doing for self-care as a like human and a business owner? How can you incorporate breaks and self-care moments throughout your workday? Because most of the work that you probably do, again, like this house hidden at the bottom, most people probably don't see it, like all the hard work that you put in. So how can you really take time for yourself? And again, how you do self-care, that flavor, that zodiac sign on the outside will show the flavor of how you're gonna wanna self-care. Yeah, so this is a very like house of like check-in for alignment, mission, vision, values, goals, work-life balance, home office, workspace, and nurturing. Your flavor of all of these things comes through the zodiac sign. If you have questions about this, bring it to class or email me. So those are the first four houses. Um, is it like a quadrant? No. Yeah, quad is four, right? So first like quadrant, all the personal houses and how this energy can be transferred from your personal natal chart into your business and career for a better flow. I'm gonna say like flow with the flavors. I have no idea where this word flavor is coming from. Hopefully it makes sense, but we all have a unique flavor to each house. So that's everything. I will see you in a call, a class, but I will see you in the next video with the next four houses. Email me questions, please and thank you. It's my favorite thing to say is questions, questions, questions. No one is here live as I record this, so please reach out with questions.